Okay, yeah, I knew I should have asked you for the questions. Hi, my name is Shirley Asare, and I am, first of all, a woman of faith. I'm also a public sector leader who's worked across government for the last 20 years. I am a local politician and the first Black female mayor at Hatfield Town Council of African descent. I'm also a mother to 2 young children and a wife to a lovely husband.
All right, so when I Google Shirley Asare, the first thing that comes up is that Shirley Asare is a prominent local politician and public sector leader serving as borough councillor for Hatfield East and a town councillor for Hatfield Town Council. So Shirley, tell us how that role came about.
Okay, so when my husband and I got married, we decided that we would buy a house outside London. And so when we moved, I think I had different expectations about moving outside London, having lived in London all my life. And so when I got there, as with any area, there's various challenges. And I thought, you know what, I'm not happy about this. I'm going to raise my concerns with my local councillor. So I reached out to him and we arranged to meet, and I was going on and on and on about the things that I wasn't happy about and wanted to change. And by the end of the conversation, he then said to me that, you know what, you'd be really good as a councillor, would you like to attend a town council meeting? So I was like, okay, that's cool, I can do that. God knows what happened to the complaints I raised. And then when I went to the town council meeting, I met the other councillors and they really enjoyed talking to me. And they also encouraged me to join them as a town councillor. So I then stood for the elections in May 2023, and I was elected as a town councillor. The following year, I was then elected as the first mayor of African descent, female mayor of African descent for Hatfield Town Council. And then the following year, I was encouraged to stand as a borough councillor in May 2024, and I was elected. So here we are.
Well done. Major props to you.
Thank you.
So your surname is Asare, right?
Yes.
Does that have any kind of meaning?
I hope I get this right. So if you don't know already, it's of Ghanaian heritage. And usually the name is associated with another surname called Bediako, which I believe means or refers to warrior. But my name is just Asare by itself. But yeah, it's just a Ghanaian surname from the Ashanti Kingdom.
All right, cool. So were you born in Ghana?
I wasn't born in Ghana. I was born here in the UK, East London. So yeah, but my parents are both Ghanaian, and we often went back to Ghana on holidays to see family, friends. So I'm very much involved in the culture and know a little bit about Ghana.
What would you say is the 3 best things about Ghana and the general culture?
Oh, the 3 best things. I think one is the people. Being Ghanaian, the people are so lovely. I think as a whole, we're just great people. We're lovely to know. Everyone knows a Ghanaian. I'm not saying that we're all lovely, but I know that there's good and bad everywhere. But I think Ghanaians are just lovely people to have. Our culture is very rich and very positive, very uplifting. And of course, how could I not mention our jollof rice?
Cool. Okay, brilliant. So you're a mum, isn't it?
I am.
Cool. So, what advice would you give to fellow mums who are also trying to build a career like yours?
Wow. First of all, being a mum is a job in itself, and there's no rule book or, guidelines that you have to follow in order to be successful. I believe everyone is just winging it. Everyone is doing the best that they can. And you have to find out what works for you. And you have to go through trials and errors before you get there. But be encouraged that you will get there. And also, just to pursue what, your heart's desire. If you know that you want to get into leadership or politics or whatever it is, pursue it with all your heart. I know there are times that it will be difficult. You might have to make sacrifices, but eventually you will get there. I don't think being a mum means you can't pursue your dreams or climb up the career ladder. You can definitely do both, but there are times where you might have to sacrifice and make changes. It won't always go the way you expect it to go, but it doesn't mean that it won't go. So be encouraged to keep on going. Don't despise what skills you've already got and what people you already have around you. If I had not reached out to my local councillor, I possibly may not have even looked into being a councillor or attended the council meeting. That's what I would say.
Okay, awesome. Just thinking back on your own career, what would you say has been the best advice that you've ever received?
Oh, the best advice. It's going to sound really cliche and really boring, but it is really important that you believe in yourself, because very few people will believe in you. If you don't believe in you, you can't achieve what you want to achieve. And all of us have something within us. We have greatness within us. And sometimes we have hidden gems that we don't know about. But I believe that we're all made to do great things or good things. And if we just believe in ourselves, we can do even greater things. I have often been guilty of being a bit shy and not believing in myself, when actually I know that in my heart I can do whatever I set out or wish to do. And when I have retreated, I've choked my dreams, I've choked my vision, and it hasn't served me. So even when it doesn't look like, even when it doesn't look like it's going your way or it's possible, still believe and still, use wisdom, use the tools and resources and people around you. And bit by bit, you can get there.
That's great advice. Now, just think about social media for a second.
Sure.
What kind of content do you enjoy seeing on social media?
Oh, I have a very eclectic range of things I like seeing on social media. So being in leadership, I love seeing other leaders, particularly but not exclusively women of colour, because even as old as I am, I still love to see other women thrive. I'm encouraged, and it's representation. It gives me hope that actually, even where I am, I can go even further. I love to see people thrive within politics, because that's what I'm into, and other people doing, other great things that maybe I'm not quite into, such as fashion. But yeah, I love to see people thrive and see their journey and how people started maybe how they were in the middle and where they are now.
Awesome. Do you know, I really like that you start off that sentence with referring to your leadership, because I think not enough women I see kind of champion their own confidence. So it was really great that you look for other women in leadership to inspire you. So like on that topic of leadership, what decision most changed the trajectory of your career and that helped you become more confident?
I will definitely say one of the things that changed my trajectory and helped me to become more confident was actually the day before the elections. I had been out campaigning, trying to encourage last-minute voters to vote. And I knocked on this door. It was quite late, and I really just wanted to go home. But my fellow colleague encouraged me to just do one more house. So we knocked on this door and a little girl came to the door, and I asked if her mother was in or her father was in, and she called her mum. And then when her mum came to the door, she started jumping up and down. And she was like, "It's the lady from the poster, it's the lady from the poster. She's at our house." And she brought out my leaflet with my picture on it as I was standing for borough councillor. And just to see this little girl's face, she just smiling from ear to ear, that I was standing at her house. I don't even know if she knew who I was or what I was. She just knew I was the lady on the poster. And that was a big deal for me because, as I mentioned before, representation is a lot. And I pictured myself as that little girl growing up, because growing up, I didn't see a lot of particularly Black women in positions of leadership. Not to say that they weren't there, but they weren't publicised a lot. There weren't that many that I knew of. So that really gave me a boost of confidence. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I was doing the right thing. And even if I didn't win the next day, I'd done my best. And this little girl had seen somebody who she could be like, maybe. And it doesn't mean like she has to be into politics, but just somebody that she could look to and aspire to. And God being so good, the next day I won my seat.
Well done. Now, for the pessimists amongst us that don't vote, what would you, or how would you encourage that person? And also, how would you, what would you say is the really difficult thing about being a politician?
So for the pessimists who don't vote, I would say that I understand some of the challenges that you're facing, we're facing, I'm facing it as well. I'm not exempt from some of the challenges. And I do understand, especially in recent times where politics has been up and down, you know, we've gone round and round, and it can sometimes feel like it's a big mess. But it's important that we use and exercise our rights to vote, because that is the only way that we can influence and affect change. If we all complain and, you know, about the things that we want and we don't act on it, we can't achieve it. And there's a difference between like local politicians and national government or politicians. Like, you can reach out to your local councillor or councillors and put whatever petition you want forward, and you can make change that way. Equally, you can reach out to your, you know, local MP who can try and affect change on a national level. So there's different ways that you can go about it. So I definitely encourage people to not be so down and out and, be caught up in that. I know there's a lot of drama, but just be encouraged that without you, there is nothing. So, yeah. And what's the second thing you said?
Oh, so the second thing was what is one misconception that people think about being a politician that you want to kind of myth bust?
Okay, so one myth buster is that even when you are in a position of power, it doesn't mean you can always. It may not be within your gift to make things happen there and then, exactly how you would want it. There are systems in place. There are processes. There's a lot of hurdles that one has to go through, but it doesn't mean it can't happen or that it won't happen. It's just not as simple as I want this and it's done. And we all have to bear in mind that if, you give with one hand, you may have to take with another. So it's important that actually, as a politician, there's a balance, that you try as much as possible to positively impact, your residents, those in your constituency, businesses, schools, without negatively affecting another group. And that is very, very challenging. So please, 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 just have a little bit of grace for your local politicians.
Okay, so now which skill has had the highest return of investment for Shirley?
Wow, that is a question. Which skill has had the highest return on investment? I would definitely say my interpersonal skills. I think that I can speak to an array of people from different backgrounds, seniorities, different positions, and I'd like to think I come across well. I'm very articulate and I can come across very calm yet confident. So I think that attracts a lot of people to want to talk to me, to want to listen to me. And I would like to think that it's influenced them to make certain decisions. So yeah, I think that has been the best return of investment for me.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to a topic that we were speaking about off camera. Like, how do you best approach setting boundaries without hurting people's feelings in your life?
That is really challenging. Setting boundaries can be very, very difficult and awkward, especially when it's with people that you care about. It can also be professionally, but I know is very important to do, because without it, I have experienced that I've been the one left out of pocket or run down or hurt. So for me, I can be quite direct in my approach, and setting boundaries doesn't have to be a confrontational type of conversation. It can just be simply, this is what I need and this is what works for me. So I'd appreciate it if you would adhere to this, or you can just be plain and say, this doesn't work for me and this is what I'm going to do going forward.
Is that the Shirley way of saying it, or is that the politician way of saying it?
Oh, well, you see, as a politician, you have to change up your approach and your style depending on the audience. So that was the Shirley way. But yeah, there's different ways I go about it depending on where I am. So if I'm in the chamber and I really need to put across my point and make sure that I am heard and understood, there's a way that I can be quite firm in my approach. And if I'm talking to someone, maybe it's not really the best news that they want to hear, I can change it up and be a bit more calm and softer. So yeah.
Mm. Now, the other day, this was maybe two, 3 weeks ago, I was speaking to Nia, my eldest, and I said to her that I am the biggest failure that she'd ever meet. And I realised that what I said was quite blunt, but I wanted her to know that, like, your father fails at a lot of things, but he also succeeds at a lot of things. Now, in your life, what failures would you say that you're glad happened, and what did it teach you?
Wow. In regard to failures, like you have just mentioned, I have failed a ton of times. Like professionally, so, in my career, sometimes I've, applied for positions and, I've not been successful. I think in relationships, I've also failed there. But what I've learned from it is that, life is a journey and you have to fail in order to succeed. You have to fail in order to know where you went wrong and how to do it right or get better. I'm not afraid of failing, although I don't always like the experience, but the results that I yield from, failing, and then how you feel once you succeed. So a really early failure is my driving test. I didn't pass the first time or the second time. And I'm not even going to talk about the number of times I failed, but when I did pass, it was the feeling of being a legitimate driver was just so great. And just something as small as my driving test, it wasn't small at the time, but something like my driving test, it just made me believe that I could achieve anything. And like I said, it didn't matter how many times I failed, eventually I passed. And every time I failed, I tried to obviously not make the same mistakes I did before. And like I said, eventually I passed. So it's being persistent and just believing in yourself, not giving up. So yeah, I think that is what failure has taught me.
So, just going back a step, we've established that you're a mum, you're a wife, you're a politician, but you're also the eldest sister.
I am.
So, being married to the oldest sister, I have an insight into the kind of responsibilities that you have. So, talk us through that.
Oh, I should have really added that to my job title, actually. I think being an elder sister has been such a blessing, although in my formative years, it definitely didn't feel like that. I think there was a lot of pressure on me being the eldest. Whilst my parents didn't directly put it on me, I definitely felt it because I was always told that when you do something, your siblings will follow you. So you always need to do the right thing. So I always felt that I had to lead, I had to get it right the first time round. Otherwise, my brother and sister would follow me and do the wrong thing, and then it would just be doomsday. But being the elder sister, I have always had a higher standard, not just for my siblings, but for myself. And I would hope that I made it somewhat easier for my brother and my sister who followed me, because I had done it first. And although I didn't appreciate it at the time, I think actually that's where my leadership skills were cultivated. because I had to be the first one to get up and, I don't know, set the table, tidy up. I had to be really good at school. And I did want to be good at school, not just because I was the eldest, but, you know, my brother and my sister had something to look up to. And now, being the eldest is so amazing because my brother and my sister, you see what you put in them and the example that they had to follow, and now they're doing things because, I made sure that they did them. And they just, my siblings love on me so much. I don't have to ask for anything. Like, they're always willing, they're always there. And it's so lovely to know that as the elder sister, even though I really despised them when they were younger, and I wanted an older brother so badly, I'm glad that I was the elder sister for them. I could love on them, protect them, direct them, and we still have that relationship today. And now they're even pouring into me. So I love that.
Okay, great, awesome. So Shirley, is there a book, person or resource that has shaped how you think, whether it's personally or professionally?
Wow. There are so many books that I do not have the titles in my head right now. I would say a person professionally, I mean, could I say yourself? I think that for as long as I've known you, you have been on a journey, and despite your challenges, you have always risen above them all, and you keep on going, and you go like to higher heights each and every time. And I just think to myself, even though I'm not in the fashion world, if you can do it and you've had many challenges, why can't I? And I have my own talent, I have my own skills. Why can't I use what I have and channel it into something that I want to do and also rise and also flourish? I definitely think you're an inspiration, especially as a Black man. You're a role model. You're, an uncle to my kids. And, I love that. And like a lot of my family members know who you are. And have experienced, the Emile Vidal Carr experience. So yeah, you're definitely somebody that I look to as an inspiration and as motivation.
Well, I appreciate that. The guys watching that wasn't planned. I didn't ask you to say that, by the way. All right, so let's move on to your spiritual life. So I presume you're a Christian woman?
I am.
So what's your walk with God and Christianity been like?
So I was born into a Christian home. Both my parents were Christian. I think I've always had a relationship with God, although sometimes I feel like I've pulled away. So as a teenager, I just wanted to do my own thing. But then I've always returned back to God. So I remember when I was doing my GCSEs and I prayed and I was like, God, if you just let me pass, I'll do anything you want me to do. And again, I believed in myself. I believed that if I could just pass my GCSEs, there's nothing that I can't do. And God being so good, I did pass my GCSEs, of course. But as I've gotten older, I've also experienced different challenges. I've experienced loss, bereavement, changes, and God has always been constant. He's always been there for me. He showed up in ways that I couldn't even imagine, even at my lowest points. And so for me, being a Christian woman is at the forefront, always for me.
That's really good. Really good. Are there any particular scriptures that that resonate with you at all?
Yes, so there is a particular scripture in Philippians 4, which states that do not worry about anything, but in everything, make your requests known to God through prayer and supplication. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's just very encouraging that our Heavenly Father is telling us that don't worry about anything. I've got you. And there is nothing that can overtake you. There's nothing that can drown you out. There's nothing that can take you under. I have got you. And when I think about God and how he takes care of my every need, I can breathe easy, I can relax.
That's good, that's good. So I'm going to carry on tooting your own horn here. Like, you also worked for the criminal justice system.
Yes.
Right. So tell us about the role that you undertook.
So the role that I undertook in the criminal justice system, I worked for the National Probation Service. So I managed high risk people on probation, in custody and the community. So yeah, that was very challenging and very interesting. You meet with different people from all walks of life, their families, you get to know their situations, circumstances. A lot of people look different to what you read on paper. I developed a lot of empathy in that role, and I understand that not everything is as what it seems.
That's really good. Now, what would you say is in the future plans for Shirley Asare?
Okay, so the future for Shirley Asare looks great. I'm definitely in my leadership era, so I'm definitely going to elevate in this time. I can't say too much, but you will see it. I definitely want to encourage others and in any way be a positive role model, show up for people, especially those women, girls who look like me and who want to go out and do more. So I'm definitely looking to represent in that way. And yeah, just be encouraging to others, being encouraging to others who want to pursue their dreams.
Nice. Finally, could you maybe tell us a few things that resonate with you about the EVC label?
Yes. So EVC label, one definitely resonates with me because it is versatile. It is not just made for one body type or, skin color. It is very versatile. As you can see, I am modeling a very hot pink, fuchsia pink jacket. It's also very modern, very, very modern and classic at the same time. There are some definitely classic features that I like about the EVC pieces. I think it's great. And if you don't have it, you're missing out.
Well, brilliant. Thank you, Shirley, so much for your time.
Thank you.